Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you join us for today's Explainer. We're turning our focus to an area of the astrological chart that is honestly so incredibly misunderstood, yet fundamentally vital. Today, we're unpacking the brilliant insights of Hellenistic astrologer Sunil Bugal regarding the sixth house. And we are going to completely reframe how you look at this sector of your chart. You can go ahead and forget all the doom and gloom you might have heard. We're talking about mastering your routine, your health, and your service to the world. We are walking right into the literal engine room of your life's resilience, and I guarantee you're going to leave with a whole new appreciation for the daily grind.
Okay, let's dive into this because we really need to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Historically, traditional astrology slapped a pretty grim label on the sixth house, calling it the place of bad fortune. Yikes, right? Sounds intimidating. For centuries, this house just had this heavy reputation for being the bearer of illness, drudgery, and all those mundane chores we'd rather avoid. But that ancient translation, it really doesn't capture the empowering reality of what this house actually does for us. We are going to completely debunk that grim reputation today.
So, the absolutely crucial thing to grasp here is the shift from that traditional view to the modern one. The old school view saw it as a place of bad fortune, basically just because it lacks a direct major aspect to the first house, the house of self. It was looked at as an area where you're kind of on your own without direct support. But the modern view, which Sunil Bugal frames so brilliantly, flips this entirely. Think about it this way. If your first house represents your baseline vitality, like your hit points in a video game, the sixth house represents the inevitable damage you take from simply existing in the world. And more importantly, it's your proactive response to that damage. It's the yoga studio, hitting the gym, eating your greens. It's your ultimate damage control and financial housekeeping. So it isn't bad fortune at all. It's literally you warding off entropy.
To really get why this house demands so much sheer effort from us, we need to look at its technical placement in the sky. The sixth house has what we call a cadent quality. Cadent literally means it falls away from an angle. In this specific case, it's falling away from the seventh house descendant. Because it's sitting just below the horizon, it acts like a hidden foundational engine. It's always operating in the background, requiring constant problem solving and the active dissipation of your energy just to maintain stability. That is exactly why keeping your life running smoothly, doing the dishes, going to the dentist, answering those endless emails feels like continuous labor. That's cadent energy at work.
So, what does that continuous labor actually look like day to day? Well, when we ask what the sixth house covers, we find this really fascinating triad of daily life. First off, there's health and physical upkeep. Then, you've got the daily grind and labor. And to put that in perspective, contrast it with your 10th house. The 10th is your glowing public reputation, your big dream career. The 6th house, that's the unglamorous, sleeves rolled up, just getting it done kind of work that actually makes that 10th house dream possible. It also governs the people who help keep your life afloat, subordinates, staff, employees. And honestly, my personal favorite detail, it traditionally rules small animals and pets. Because they aren't equal partners like a spouse in the 7th house, right? They're a beloved, vital part of our domestic routine and daily substance.
All right, moving on to Section 1. Meet the crew, where we'll look at the planets at work.
Now, what's really interesting here is thinking of the sixth house as an engine room, where the planets are your crew members. Each one brings a completely unique flavor and methodology to how you manage your daily machinery. Take the sun, for example. Your visible spirit is tied to refining your craft. You literally find vitality through service. The moon brings this rhythmic, fluctuating flow, meaning your health is deeply tied to your moods and you probably have an incredibly intuitive bond with your pets. Mercury, that's your intellectual artisan. You thrive on that busy energy, keeping meticulous records and nerding out on wellness research. Venus brings grace in the grind, making sure you have sweet relationships with coworkers and a real love for aesthetic body care. But look at that bottom row for a second. Mars. The sixth house is considered the special joy of Mars. This is where Mars's metabolic heat and proactive force are perfectly channeled into bold resilience and hard work. Though, fair warning, you do have to watch out for impulsive, acute injuries.
But what happens when the outer, heavier-hitting planets clock in for a shift? Let's take a look at Jupiter. Jupiter is known as the Great Benefic in astrology, acting as this profound protector. When Jupiter is sitting in your sixth house, it brings a really buoyant, optimistic, and highly aspirational approach to your daily tasks. It's an energy of abundance and healing. You might find you're just naturally lucky with the people you hire, having great relationships with employees, and as Sunil notes with a bit of a wink, having Jupiter here very often points to incredibly happy, deeply spoiled pets. You just possess this resilient constitution that bounces back quickly from setbacks. Then, on the flip side of that, we have Saturn. Contrast Jupiter's buoyant luck with Saturn's structured discipline. If Saturn is in your 6th house, you are absolutely the backbone of your workplace. You approach your financial housekeeping and your physical health with extreme seriousness. Now, admittedly, this can sometimes feel like a heavy weight to carry, and traditional astrology does warn it can manifest as chronic conditions that require a lot of patience. But the payoff? Saturn builds incredible, unshakable, long-term resilience. You leave a lasting legacy through pure dedication and a reliance on tested traditional methods of care.
Now, I know for sure, some of you are frantically mentally checking your charts right now thinking, wait, I don't have the Sun or Mars or Saturn in my 6th house. It's completely empty. Take a deep breath. It's totally fine, and it's incredibly common. Having an empty 6th house does not mean you're doomed to never hold a job, be perpetually unhealthy, or live a life without furry companions. Not at all.
An empty house simply means you need to look for what astrologers call the steersman. See, every house in your chart has a zodiac sign on its cusp, and every sign is ruled by a planet. That ruling planet is your steersman, the captain of your daily ship. So let's say Gemini is on the cusp of your empty 6th house. That makes Mercury your ruler. You then go look at where Mercury is placed elsewhere in your chart. Mercury's position and condition are going to dictate exactly how you manage your health, your routines, and your life's machinery. The engine room is absolutely still running. Your captain is just operating it remotely from the bridge.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds with Vedic views and zodiac nuances.
Sunil's work explores some fantastic nuances when we start bringing in different astrological systems and specific zodiac flavors into the 6th house. For instance, look at how Vedic astrology interprets the lunar nodes in the sector. It is such a fascinating contrast. On one side, we have Rahu. When Rahu is in the 6th house, it attacks problems head-on. It grants you this fierce ability to solve complex issues, and traditionally, it signifies victory over competitors and enemies. It really leans into the conflict. On the other side, though, is Ketu. Ketu creates a sense of detachment from all that mundane routine work. But, and this is key, that detachment isn't laziness. It actually channels into deep spiritual growth that's achieved specifically through navigating service and daily challenges.
And of course, the actual flavor of the zodiac sign on the cusp completely colors how the house operates. Let's look at a specific example, Pisces. If you have a Pisces 6th house, your daily routine is infused with sensitivity and compassion. You're probably perfectly suited for creative or healing professions. However, there is a pretty vital warning label attached here. Pisces energy can be highly fluid, and it's prone to boundaries dissolving. So, to keep your 6th house machinery from breaking down, a Pisces 6th house requires a strict avoidance of escapism. You have to consciously ground all that immense compassion in a structured, disciplined routine. Otherwise, that entropy we talked about earlier is definitely going to creep in. So, as we wrap up our tour of the astrological engine room, we come right back to this central truth. The 6th house is not a place of bad fortune. It is the very foundation of your daily resilience. By understanding the planets and signs that govern your personal maintenance and service, you are completely empowered to transform everyday drudgery into a profound source of strength. You've got the blueprint now. So, the question I want to leave you with today is this. Knowing what you know now about your own astrological engine room, how will you tune up your ghost in the machine? Keep exploring your chart, and we will catch you in the next explainer.